Hey diary, working late. I have a show coming up that represents a year since my son killed himself with fentanyl. It was during a gig last year. I should have been playing all year in this context, but I just couldn't after what happened. Last year, when I was like preparing my group to launch, which, basically consisted of maybe 2 months of intensive rehearsals and charting and some writing and those rehearsals, and practice, so putting together my practice to just target a very aggressive and ambitious show. Yeah, and Forrest, my whole thing, my whole bag with him back then was like, hey, like whatever you need, I'm here for you, but I am going to be working very intensely on these tunes so that I'm as good as I could be, just so that I was essentially graduating myself out of a jazz program because I had set out and accomplished what I was doing. Anyway, it all seems so meaningless now. But in my mind, and this is my own weird father-son thing, was I was bringing my son up to New York for a jazz program with two of my favorite guitar players in the world, and he came to the show and he saw my work, which I had been, it had been my life, whatever, my life's work. And then he died a couple weeks later. So I took on another one of these. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. It presented itself. I had to take it. The people that I played with have been very kind to me because I haven't been able to do anything with them for a year. And then this opportunity was too good to pass up. And it's basically a week away from a year. It's a week shy of a year. And I wanted to impress my son at that gig, just between you and me. I wanted to impress him. I wanted to serve notice to him that I was extremely serious and willing to do transformative things to get where I wanted to go. I kind of felt something was off with him because we weren't having, he talked a little bit about the show, but he was, I took it as being around his friends and just sort of acclimating to all the stimuli. New York is a lot of stimuli. But he was using. And I'm a fool because I trusted I could take my eyes off my son. I trusted what he said to me. And I lost him. And I would say more typically I'm much sharper about picking up on people's signals. But I figured I was seeing him in a few weeks. You don't expect your kid to be shooting heroin. It's not like a normal thing. You trust your son, someone who you really love and think they love you. You trust them. Anyway, I'm reflecting on like what a year has brought now in terms of my playing, in terms of my thinking. I mean, I don't measure my thinking, but I measure my ability to play, I suppose, on the depth at which you can go into a tune, the speed at which you can process a new tune and, you know, fully play it, because that's kind of where we want to get with this, where we're not hung up on the tunes, but we're getting right into the music. So you can see if those things, you know, those are detectable, measurable skills. And then I developed my own system on the guitar that I play every day. I play from that system, I suppose. And I developed it while working with one of those guitar players that I sent Forrest to study with, and just keeping up with him forced me to find a way to play a lot more efficiently. And that's what I created. This year I really solidified it into my playing. It is my playing. It's how I approach everything now. And I always think that I'm showing this to my son. And these tunes are vehicles for that kind of stuff. That sort of opening the rose, you know, the geometries come out. The emotions, the mixture of those things. It's crazy. And I was showing this and sharing it with him, and he had his own insights. And I'm just thinking, like, I had built all these skyscrapers in my mind, you know, these things that were to be. That I was going to play music with my son, that he was going to be my training partner, because I'm still young, that I want to train, and that I was going to have more time with him. And also, you know, the pain of the indignity of how that time was shortened, that it was by something as just crappy as stupid fucking heroin. That's what he liked. It's upsetting to me. It makes me feel like, what was I working for? You know, I worked for him a lot. You know, I work for me too, but I worked for my son to have a future. And the way I expressed that was to support him in while he was getting his education, and included both his martial arts and his university. To me, those were both equally important, and anything else that he wanted to do, but those were his jams. And sometimes I think like, wow, I have nothing to, you know, I have no purpose, you know, because just to pour it back into myself is, I don't know. There's a finite amount that I need. I was doing something. I was doing something with my life, and he also took that away. So there's a lot of layers to this. And even my playing, the the joy that I used to feel, and now the pain, whatever this is, the non-joy, it's all linked into how I play now. It's all I do really is play. I play the guitar, I write, I train, I read, I study Spanish. I really love my wife and my little cat. I see my daughter. And when I think I can't move forward, I look at Forrest's dead body in my mind, and it makes me so fucking mad that I get motivated again. I wish I could say something nicer, but that's the truth.